Alright guys, bit of an update today. Yeah, somebody's asked about the restaurant, and what I'll do is I'll put a link below about some of the bread making and stuff we're doing. Basically, it was just a random conversation. I'm sort of still in holiday mode at the moment because the kids are on holiday. So trying to do some work isn't the easiest thing to do when you've got two kids at home. I left the UK job recently. And if you've seen the UK media, you'll see it's another company that's struggling. I can't really talk about it too much, but I just sort of highlighted some of the issues while I was there. But I've got to admit, I'm loving the UK work-wise less and less. I find it's just quite simply just nonsense. There's a lot of people that simply have no idea what they're doing, and a lot of these projects are reliant on the fact that they just go on business as usual, which is the same thing around the Brexit. This is why when they actually have to change something, they've got no idea what they're supposed to be doing. It's just been so much stagnation in the UK, it's ridiculous. But a lot of it's coming to an end. Why? Because the money's running out. I mean, the Carillion collapse is a prime example. That was just in my opinion, a bit of a Ponzi scheme, but also you got it coupled with the fact that it's riddled with incompetence. But who's responsible for it? Predominantly the government, to be honest. The government made a lot of these decisions, and the stagnation is career politicians, because they're not on about making any decisions. It's about staying in power for as long as possible, which, to get as many votes as possible, the easiest options actually do nothing, because if you do something, you're always upsetting somebody. So I know it sounds a bit weird, but that's the truth. So yeah, I've got to admit, Spain I'm seeing a lot more as a better option. But even then, it's a case of making it viable here, because most of my skills are related to corporate side. So I'm sort of thinking of other options at the moment, doing some trading, Forex trading, crypto trading. I'm looking at that as an avenue. Also doing some work online, because I'm not too fussed on the money at the minute. If I can get it stable here for the long term, that's the main goal. Then the other bits will follow on the back of that. So it's an interesting time. I've got to admit, I'm quite happy to be away from the UK though. I've got to admit that. I don't know. I mean, some of it is the fact that my family are some of the worst people I've ever met in my life. But at the same time, the job options are there, but where you feel like the work just doesn't progress. You're there to fix something, but they brought you in to fix something, but they have no intention of fixing it. It's a case of process. They know they've got financial problems. They know they haven't been doing whatever. So you're there to actually look at the accounts, look at what's wrong with the business, and then put forward what they need to do, then generally just ignore it. But it's getting to that point I'm tired of doing it. Because you know what's wrong with places, and you know how to put it right. It's just that a lot of the time, because they're so stagnant, they don't want that change, because it also involves reshuffling the entire business and changing it from what has become a bunch of pen pushers. Because before, engineering firms are run by engineers. It's predominantly people that come from the industry, and not people that have just sort of graduated and suddenly been given a job because it's cheaper than actually getting somebody with experience. Because you take a graduate, you can push them quite hard, because they're quite simply they're wanting to be successful, and they're eager to please. So you can get 80 hours out of them a week and pay them about half what you'd pay somebody that actually knew what they were doing. And then just keep going that way. The other side of it being is you've got soft and hard services. Soft services are like cleaners, security guards, that sort of stuff, and hard services, the engineering side. Well, the engineering side can move over to soft services quite easily because there's more people management than anything else. But there's way too many soft services people in hard services now, and obviously they don't know how to run a building. Don't get me wrong, there'll be a few good ones, but from my experience of 20 years, it doesn't work. It never has done. But the problem you get as well is once you start going down the route of incompetence, the people that leave are predominantly the ones that do the work. So you lose the engineers, you lose the managers that come from gas or whatever and been doing it for 20, 30 years. Because as soon as they can get an exit, they're gone. This is one of the things that happened with Carillion, because when I was talking to the agents, the recruitment agencies about it, they were expecting an influx of people wanting work. A lot of them just retired. Had enough already. A bit like me. Had enough of it. Had enough of the lies, the false promises, we have a policy for this, a policy for that. Yeah, we completely ignore it and just use that to our benefit. But when it goes the other way, we're quite aggressive and use a lot of bullying tactics, which happens quite a lot. Don't get me wrong, I'm not disgruntled. I did quite well out of it. I mean, financially it's been good. I got 20 odd years out of it. But for me now, I want a complete change. This is why I'm sort of looking at the restaurant now. Been helping with that, doing a lot of the marketing stuff for it at the moment. Going to get involved in pizza making and other bits and pieces and see where it goes. There's other stuff I'm looking at as well, which is around what I normally do, which is maintenance. So we're looking at setting up a maintenance business once this one's running. Now, why do you want to do maintenance if you don't want to do it for the big companies? Quite simply, I like people and I like doing maintenance. I like fixing things. You know, I'm quite happy, you know, fixing a boiler or rewiring a house or stuff like that where I originally began. What I'm not happy with is sitting in a meeting where I'm telling somebody that this repair for this year is going to cost £180,000, and they're telling me they haven't got £180,000, yet it was budgeted when they originally put it together because they spent it on the wrong stuff years earlier. That's the sort of stuff I'm sick and tired of, because the incompetence is rife. And it's funny. It's funny when somebody says to you, you're entitled to your opinion. It's like, I don't have an opinion. I'm talking about industry standards. It's not my opinion. The reality is, you've overspent. You've spent money on the wrong things. You built it wrong. The budget's wrong. It's not an opinion. Because everything I put together all comes from mathematical equations that are designed to give you your programs and budget, and at the same time you haven't even been following the one you originally made yourself, and the reason you brought me in is because you're over budget. So it's not an opinion, it's the reality. But yeah, I mean, I know this video sounds a little bit down. I'm not actually that down. Today we're just off to get the car in for its annual road test. I've got a problem with the filter. These have these diesel filters. I've got to be pretty blunt on this. The garage that sold it to me, I've faffed around with it, and I think they've caused some problems with it. But I'm just about to go to the garage here and see if they can clear it. I've got a thing called a snooper as well, so I can actually read the diagnostics on the car. And there's 9 faults on the car at the minute, but nearly all of them are related to the filter. A couple of the other ones, I don't even think it's because they're faulty. I think it's they're not connected. You know, for example, there's a couple of sensors, one for the brake, not for the brakes, for the tyre pressures. I don't think it's fitted on this car, so it's not surprising it's not there, because I don't think it was ever installed. But I'm just gonna head in and and see if these guys can do some work on my car today and get this through the road test. That's me happy. That's the last big expense for this year. Then I can just focus on making some money. I've had a couple of friends on the Forex trading as well, by the way. The Forex trading and the crypto trading, they're both doing very well at the minute. So it's something I'm looking at myself, jumping back in on it. My portfolio has recovered as well. So myself, people keep saying, are you going to trade? You're going to trade? And I'm like, I don't really need to do a lot at the minute because the money's still recovering from last year. But it's pretty much there now, so I can actually take it out of the investments and change it. So anyway, I'm at the garage, so catch you guys later. Thanks for watching.